Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Cooking with a Confident Vegan. I just recorded an episode with Dr. Patricia Thomson, also known as Dr. T, and we make two types of bowls that have ingredients that can support mental health. And we have an amazing conversation about these ingredients, and just also we talk about the connection to our gut health and how it impacts our brain health. And yeah, we just had a really lovely time. Dr. T was on an episode of that vegan morning show, the show that I co-host with Kimberly Winters of the Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm going to include the link to that interview so you can check that out as well and learn more about her work and see what we talk about there. But yeah, we make these really delicious bowls. She makes a green glow smoothie bowl, and I make this rainbow veggie Buddha bowl. And before I toss over to the episode, I just wanted to share a little bit more about Dr. T. So, Dr. Patricia Thomson, aka Dr. T, is a dynamic educator, speaker, and advocate whose work is rooted in science, service, and a passion for wellness. With a doctorate focused on toxicology and environmental biology, she brings a deep understanding of how food and environmental factors impact the body at the cellular level. In addition to her doctorate, Dr. T has earned multiple certifications in plant-based nutrition, culinary instruction, medicinal plants, and health coaching, equipping her to guide individuals and communities towards sustainable, evidence-based health practices. She is the author of WFPB, a step-by-step guide to adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, a practical and empowering resource for those seeking better health through nutrition. Dr. T has developed and led a wide range of educational initiatives from grassroots workshops to national medical summits, delivering more than 500 talks on plant-based nutrition, lifestyle medicine, toxicology, and nonprofit leadership. Through her work with Wellness20 and the Capital Region Vegan Network, Dr. T continues to drive meaningful change, empowering others to take control of their health, advocating for nonprofit leadership, and building a healthier world. All right, and with that, check out the episode. Welcome, Dr. T.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here again. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you here. The first time we connected was on the other platform that I run with Kimberly Winters of the Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. And we had a lovely conversation there. You talked about all the amazing work that you do, as well as the amazing work that you do with the Capital Region Vegan Network. And that is, yeah, and you guys had done a ravioli class, which sounded amazing. I remember we were talking about it. I'm going to include the link to that episode
Okay.
below the notes of this video. So if anyone wants to see what we talked about there, you can check it out after you watch this one. So yeah, this is my first Cooking with a Confident Vegan for 2026. It's almost 2026 when I'm recording this. This will be airing in 2026. So yeah, you're my first cooking guest for the year.
I'm so honored.
Yeah, I started doing this last year, and it's just so much fun chatting and cooking and talking about food and showing people how easy it is to make healthy food, vegan food, and it doesn't have to be difficult or
Mhm.
a miserable experience, especially when
Yeah,
you have company cooking with you, right?
that's always fun. It's always fun to cook with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whenever I do these, I always have a theme, and we're doing recipes that can support mental health. You
Mhm.
know, things are so stressful in the world right now for so many reasons. And also, you know, how there's the external things that can cause stress, but then there's also, you know, the things within ourselves that can, you know, we can have certain imbalances, you know, not sleeping well, like all these types of things can have an impact on our mental health and what we fuel our body
Hmm.
can really have a direct impact
Hmm.
on how we feel. And so, yes, there's things that can be out of our control that can impact stress and mental well-being. But when we fuel our body and we take care of ourselves, it can help us navigate those more challenging experiences in a better way. And so, first big question I wanted to ask you is, what's the connection between our gut health and our brain health?
Okay, that's a packed answer. There's so much to answer to that, but I wanted to give a little background so that there are many members of my family and friends and me included that have all had our mental health struggles and
Hmm.
throughout. And I started diving into this topic about 3 years ago just to kind of do some research, and it's really astounding how much I've uncovered in the scientific research world. That there's tons and tons of studies that have been published in peer-reviewed journals. Because I only look at peer-reviewed. I don't just read Google and go, "Oh, that's the facts," or AI. I really do go right to the source of the article, read it, read the results and everything, because I am a geeky scientist by training. So I just started discovering that there is a direct connection between your brain and your gut. And
Hmm.
really, how we all talk about, we had a gut instinct, we had a gut feeling. Well, there's actual data and science that supports that, because our brain and guts are connected by the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in the body. And our gut sends signals to our brain, and our brain sends signals to our gut, back and forth all day long. And that is how we operate. That is how we navigate our way around in the world, because of these messages that go back and forth. And so you mentioned that food is fuel, and that is just straight on. And in addition to it being fuel, it's actually information. So everything
Mm.
we put into our body gets processed and ends up in our gut and affects our gut. And so, one of the things that people don't understand or believe, if you ever watch Men in Black, it kind of highlights that we are made up of multi organisms. We're not just human. We have trillions and trillions of microorganisms, bacteria, eukaryotes, viruses, fungi throughout our whole body. We have trillions of them in our gut. And those organisms are responsible for processing all of the things that we expose our bodies to, and then start to send signals to our brain and tells it what to do. Like, um, oh, I just ate a cheeseburger and I am feeding these certain kinds of bacteria that are stressors. And so those
Hmm.
bacteria start releasing chemicals telling our brain, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I'm whatever. And so when we eat foods that aren't necessarily healthy for us, those bacteria that are digesting it are telling the brain all about it. Like, this isn't very good. Do something about it. And so that's why we have all of these reactions to different kinds of foods that we put in our body. Um, the other thing is that so it feeds our nervous system and all of our organs. So everything that we eat gets trans transported to all of these different sectors of our body. So that's why, and then so that determines our mental health. So there are things in our brain that determine our mental health, but a lot of them are affected by what we put in our gut. And that's not just
Hmm.
food. It's also any chemicals we take, anything that any prescription drugs, any hormones that are in our body, any toxins that are released from our cells and organs, and all of that. So to begin with, digestion begins in the mouth, then in the stomach, starts to get broken down by the acids, okay? Then it goes to the small intestines. And that's where digestion truly happens. And it's not through acid, it's through the bile released by the liver, and it's by enzymes released by the pancreas. And that's how
Mm.
all the food gets broken down. By the time it gets to the large intestines, that's where it starts to feed all the gut bacteria. You should have very, very low levels of bacteria in your small intestines. There's really shouldn't be anything very detectable there. But the bacteria are all in your large intestines, and that's where all the action happens there. So that's kind of a long-winded, because there's so many different components. That's why I find it so fascinating. And it really does explain a lot of things in my own life, in my mental health and in my behavior and my anxiety and all the things, and how I didn't feel well after I ate certain foods all the time growing up. And I thought, oh, everybody's stomach hurts. And then I
Hmm.
started realizing that no, after as I started doing all this research, I started realizing it's not because of that. It's because of the food I was putting into my body and how that was reacting with my gut. And then that was reacting to my brain. So there's a very strong connection there.
Thank you for sharing all of that because, right, we just, like for me, for example, I just eat the food and that's that, right? But there's, right, it goes through this, and we notice if we don't feel so great after, especially if it's stomach ache or like sometimes you just ate something that made you
Yeah.
feel more sluggish. And for me, with my journey to veganism, it started with eliminating dairy, but then I also noticed how meat, it was harder for my body to digest it. And there's
Mhm.
just a lot of stuff in there that it triggers inflammation, right? And that's another thing that can cause havoc in our gut health
Mhm.
too, is if we're eating inflammatory foods
Right.
that can promote all kinds of diseases. And yeah, by fueling our bodies with food that's going to support everything, including our, which also essentially everything does connect to our mental health, right?
Right.
Because
I mean, I really felt that, just over the holiday is, I usually eat very a healthy breakfast to get my day started, and I always feel, just humming along. But I was eating bagels, and I just noticed that my energy level was, and I'm not saying bagels are bad, but to eat like all that bread first thing in the morning and everything doesn't really get you, your body's not, you're not giving it the proper fuel. So
Mhm.
my stomach was, I just was like, whoa, dragging, and I really noticed the difference than when I went back to my, now that the holiday part of the holidays are over, I'm eating a little better and I just feel more energetic now. Um, because we do have bacteria. Your bacteria in your gut will evolve based on what you're feeding it. So, like, if
Mm.
you have a very meat, cheese, bread heavy diet, your gut bacteria will be able to digest meat, cheese, and but not in a good way because the enzymes and byproducts of digesting those products just causes a lot of, like you talking about, inflammation. And it really does kind of start to destroy the integrity of our gut lining. So what you eat will determine what your gut bacteria are. You have power over that. So
Mhm.
if you've been eating a certain way and you want to eat better, you want to do it gradually, and then you'll train your gut bacteria, like the bad ones will start to shrink in size because they won't have any food. And then your good bacteria will start to bloom, okay? And then it'll start being able to digest, vegetables and fruits and potatoes and healthy starches and all of that. So you can, and that's what I love is that it's never too late. You can actually change your bacteria with one bite of something, actually has an impact on your gut
Mhm.
bacteria. So you do have that power. And that's what, we're going to talk about today are some foods that you can start incorporating into your daily life that will change, will make that impact on your gut health. And sometimes, like I'll talk about this later, but it's not going to be instantaneous where boom, it's going to be, you're going to have a little bit of a little revolution if you haven't been eating healthy or you don't
Mhm.
eat much plant-based foods. You can have a little revolution in your intestines, but it'll quickly dissipate in, 2 days, 3 days, and then you'll really feel the difference.
Yeah, it's like a detox
Right,
phase, right? Because
right.
your body just needs to adjust to what it's getting rid of.
Yeah.
Because, like you were saying, your bacteria were trained to eat a certain way, so they're a little upset. Like, why aren't you giving me this?
Right. Like if you put food out for the birds and that food is also really good for the squirrels, well, you're going to have a lot of squirrels eating the bird food. Now, if you don't want
Yeah.
the squirrels to eat the food, just like the bad bacteria, then you got to change your food up or put it in a different spot or whatever to get to you got to target, the right bacteria with the right food, basically.
I like that analogy. I know before I ate whole food plant-based, I think I did have a lot of squirrels running around in my stomach.
does. It feels like that. Um,
Yeah.
and your gut determines how calm or reactive your nervous system is. It
Yeah.
controls everything. It controls all your hormones. It controls your nervous system. It controls your organs. It just and controls your brain. And one fact is 90%, if everybody knows what serotonin is, I think
Hmm.
most people understand that's kind of the calming neurotransmitter that's in your body, but 90% of it is made in our guts.
Oh,
And
wow.
that is just mind blowing. That's not to say that your brain doesn't produce um, serotonin. It does, but the amount that it produces is influenced by the gut. So the gut will have all of the byproducts, and that feeds to the brain, and the brain can use those byproducts to make more serotonin. So it's just like this cycle. And we're going to talk a little bit about serotonin because a lot of the foods that we're going to make today are really beneficial for serotonin.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to actually diving in and cooking with you. So, how about yours is considered could be like a breakfast, but even could be
Mhm.
like a snack as well if you need like a little pick me up. You're gonna make a green glow smoothie
Yeah.
that is going and I have notes from what you sent me before. It's got probiotics, fiber, and it produces a gut serotonin activation
Yep.
with the ingredients that you're going to be putting in there. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and you could start making that. And then after you make that, then I have all the ingredients together. I'm going to make a rainbow veggie Buddha bowl.
Ooh,
And
yay.
so after you make the smoothie, while I put together the Buddha bowl, you can then talk about all the benefits of those ingredients. How does
Okay.
that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Great.
Very good. Um, so I'm going to make a green glow smoothie, and this, a smoothie's a smoothie bowl, and you can put it in you can put it in a jar like that and drink it if you want. Or you can put it in a bowl like this and, eat it with a spoon and put toppings on it, whatever way you want. And smoothies are a great way to just get started in the morning, especially if you're not eating a lot of fruits and veggies and things like that. This is what I really started on. I made a smoothie every single morning for probably 3 years when I first started eating healthy. And it really just kicked me off and got me all the nutrients that I needed in one bite. So I didn't have to make a million different meals. I just used something very simple. And so I want to talk a little bit about because I'm going to be using a dairy-free yogurt. Okay, so this is a plain unsweetened yogurt, and it has a compound in it called probiotic. So it's got a live culture, and so I want to talk a little bit about probiotic versus prebiotic. So
Hmm.
probiotics are actual live organisms that you ingest, and it feeds your gut. It kind of seeds your gut with good bacteria. Okay, so that's what's really important is to get some kind of probiotic every day, but it's better to get a naturally made one than take a pill because this will just have a better effect on you. It won't be overwhelming because it's limited in the number of bacteria and live culture it has, and it'll be gentler on your gut. And then a prebiotic is actual food for the bacteria. So this actually seeds new bacteria, a probiotic, and a prebiotic actually feeds the bacteria. And I'll get into a little bit about that, like what kind of foods are prebiotic. An apple is one of them, any kind of seed
Nice.
fiber. So I'm just going to put a cup um, of yogurt in my blender. And, it doesn't have to be accurate because this isn't a cake. I made a bunch of sweets over the holidays and I don't have to weigh this. I don't you just, lump it in. You got your yogurt and I'm just gonna put it in. I have a Vitamix, but you don't have to have a Vitamix. Just have this is a kind of an easy meal to make. If you have just a regular blender, that's fine. So I'm gonna put that there. And then I'm gonna add a banana. And usually I have a lot of frozen bananas and ripe bananas, but we use them in making all kinds of muffins and cakes and all that over the holiday. So I'm just going to it's just not going to be as sweet. And so if you like it really sweet, you want to put more of a ripe banana in there.
Dr. T, I have a quick question for you. Some people, like sometimes, like especially in diet culture, there's a lot of criticism about fruit, right? Oh, it's high in sugar,
Mhm.
right? But when you're eating whole fruits, right?
Yep.
It's true, right, that the fiber in that helps how that digests in your body and how that impacts in your blood
Yep.
sugar, correct? So
Yep.
it's actually not as bad for you
Right.
as like people are like, oh, it's sugary, I can't eat that. But there's a lot
Yeah.
of benefits in that fruit, right?
Right. So part of that is it's in its own little package. It's in its
Yeah.
own little fiber package. So it takes a long time for your body to digest and pull out the sugars. So it keeps your blood sugar more level. When you eat something very sugary that has sugar in it and no fiber, that sugar is released instantly to your bloodstream, and that causes your blood sugar to jump. And so
Hmm.
that's why fruit is really beneficial. And diabetes is a little complicated because um, if you're already a diabetic and well on your way, well down the road, what's happened is it's the fat that actually causes diabetes because the fat that you eat blocks the cells and
Mm.
they can't get the glucose in to the cell because all cells need glucose to live. So when you eat something with glucose in it, no matter what it can't get into your cells. So you keep releasing insulin. It's like, I
Oh,
have more
interesting.
glucose in my bloodstream, more insulin. And so, and as it turns out, pancreas gets exhausted from keeping producing insulin. So you get insulin resistance because your body just can't pick it up because the cells are blocked. So it's
Mm.
important to start changing your diet and putting more fiber in your diet. And then eventually you can eat more fruit because it doesn't really matter what form the glucose in, if it's in your bloodstream, even if it takes an hour for it to get to your bloodstream, your cells just can't use it, no matter what
Mhm.
source it comes from. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
So that's why when people are diagnosed with diabetes, their doctor's like, don't eat any fruit, don't eat any sugar, because their bodies just aren't ready for it. But if the doctor would say to them, what you need to do is increase your fiber and stop eating processed foods, don't put fat into your body for a while, then it can reduce the amount of fat in the cells, okay? And then they'll be able to take your glucose in. And then that's when the fruit is really, really important. You don't want to go back to the old way again and start flooding it with all kinds of sugary stuff. So
Thank you for sharing that.
okay, it's a little complicated, and I do have a whole section on it on my site, but but there's a lot of information out there about diabetes, and it's just a real misnomer because everybody feels like they're trapped. They have to keep
Yeah.
eating what they're eating because they can't eat anything good, and that's not true. So anyway, all right. So I have my banana, which has great fiber. I have my probiotic in here, so that's really good. And now I'm going to put a tablespoon of flaxseed, which is a good omega-3. Your body needs omegas and flaxseed, but you need to do ground flaxseed. And so I have a whole container of ground flaxseed and put that in there. And that's really good fiber. And it gives you those healthy fats. So
Hmm.
omega-3s are healthy fats. You need fat. You need carbohydrates, you need protein, and you need fat. Those three things. Our bodies need all of those things. So when people go on a low fat diet, they're really depriving their body from fat, and healthy fats are good. Not eating a cheeseburger, that's not the fat that you want because that's loaded with all kinds of other things. Okay, so then the next thing is I'm gonna put some frozen pineapple chunks in.
Nice.
Uh-oh, this bag is not open.
Yeah, so it sounds like all fats and all sugars are not created equally, right? It's just
Absolutely correct.
understanding what kind are you putting in? Are you
Yep.
putting one that's going to fuel your body in a healthy way? Or are you going to put a version in there that's not going to fuel it in a
I
healthy
mean,
way?
that's absolutely right. That's the crux is that, you don't want to eat unhealthy fat because it's going to get you in trouble. And eating a lot of cookies and sugary snacks is going to get you in trouble.
What
So
lured me, oh, sorry.
pineapple chunks. I said that, right? So
Yep.
these you can either put fresh pineapple, that's fine too. But I always do this because people don't have time or they don't even know how to cut a pineapple, which I understand because you look at the pineapple, you're like, How do I get the pineapple out of that? So this is for quick. This is good. It's very, very healthy. It's very fresh because they harvest it and freeze it. So that's you have a lot of the vitamins in it. And pineapple's got lots of great bromine, which is an anti-inflammatory. So that's really
Mm.
good for you too. And you can change up the fruit in this. If you don't like pineapple, you can do something else. You can do berry, you can turn this into a a berry, a berry smoothie. And then the next thing is a cup of spinach. And that's about fresh spinach. You can put frozen spinach in here too, as well. And I just happen to have a whole bag because this is like $1 at my co-op. A
Oh,
whole
wow. That's
bag
a
of
lot of
fresh
spinach.
spinach. I love it. I feel like
That's
I'm
like
getting,
$7 worth of spinach at the
I know,
grocery store.
I know. I feel like I'm getting such a good deal. And that is it for the ingredients. So it's very simple. And now I'm going to turn this on, but it's going to be loud. So be prepared. And then get a
Actually,
little stuck.
not even hearing the blender sound through.
Wow.
Yeah. Must be like the background noise. Maybe it's canceling it out.
Oh, good. Because I know some people have they have a thing that put over their Vitamix when they're doing cooking demos that quiets it.
Yeah, it's not coming through the video. So
And then you can use this time while you're doing your blending to do your little meditation.
there you go. That's a
Thankful for the foods that you're going to be putting into your body and um,
And yeah, I like to use frozen fruits because I know how to cut a pineapple. I'm just too lazy to cut the pineapple. And there's been many times where I've bought fresh pineapple and I'm like, have it, then I'm going to take
yeah,
time out and cut it. And then I don't, and then it's too late eventually. So I just buy a lot of frozen fruits, stick them in there. I also use a lot of frozen vegetables too, because like for
yeah.
stir fries, there's a lot of healthy convenience foods out
Oh,
there that
great.
you can find ways to make it easy.
And then it's not wasteful either.
Right.
I feel like a lot of times you buy all this fresh vegetables and then you end up throwing it out. Oh, I hate it. So I like to do a compost, but look at all those phytonutrients.
That looks really good. And if you're someone watching who's never mixed like greens in a smoothie before, it actually works really well. I love spinach in a smoothie. I especially like the blueberry spinach combination is one
Yeah,
of my favorites, and it's filled with such healthy stuff. Oh wow, look at that. That looks really good.
that isn't that beautiful? Like, how would you not be happy to eat that?
Right, and we eat with our eyes too. So when we see things are colorful and they look inviting, right? And you don't need artificial colors for it to be
Yeah.
colorful and inviting.
And then what I like to do is put blueberries. Um, you should eat like a handful of blueberries every morning, and it really helps your brain.
Mm-hmm.
It really does feed those receptors. So I'm just going to put some blueberries in there, and then you can sprinkle oats. So anyway, so that's what it looks like. I don't know if you could see.
Very nice.
And like I said, you can eat it like this with a spoon, or you can put it in in this, and then you don't put the topping on, and you can pop it in there. And if you wanted to, you can mix the blueberries right in with your spinach, and then it'll be like a blue-green color, which is pretty. So either way
Very
you want.
nice.
But this is a powerful stuff that's going to help your brain because it's going to feed your gut. And so anytime that you're feeding your gut good stuff, um, that's a good thing. So I talked a little bit about serotonin. And so serotonin is made from an amino acid called tryptophan. And I think we're all familiar with tryptophan because it's associated with, it's also found in turkeys. So a lot of people at Thanksgiving, after they eat turkey, they get really calm and usually bloated because of eating a lot of other things other than turkey. And so tryptophan is in turkey, and that creates that's how serotonin is built in your gut. So any foods that you feed with tryptophan is
Mm-hmm.
good, so that you want to have as many foods as you can that have tryptophan. And I have like a list of foods that we can talk about that later. So anyway, I'm going to taste it.
That looks great.
It looks really good.
I love the color.
Mm. Mm. That's delicious. I'm obviously very hungry.
That sounds really good.
Okay.
Well, thank you for sharing all that. So I'm going to jump into what I'm making now, and then we can talk about that. So I'm making a rainbow veggie Buddha bowl. And actually, I'm just going to grab a couple. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do a rainbow veggie Buddha bowl with quinoa, chickpeas, kale, roasted cauliflower, purple cabbage. I love I love fresh edamame, and I
Hmm.
love the color. So I sauteed some of that with some garlic and coconut aminos. I use a lot of coconut aminos in my cooking because it's like soy sauce, but it's lower in sodium content.
Hmm.
It's also gluten free. So if you're somebody who's, needs to be gluten free, coconut aminos is a good substitute as well. Um, so I have here, this is the convenience food that I have. So I like to get pre-washed
Oh
kale,
yeah. Yeah.
already washed, already chopped. I don't need to go through the hassle. And this will get you, I'm more likely to use this than the kind that I'd have to like thoroughly clean and
Mhm.
prepare. So if I can just grab it and just dump it where I need to. And then I also got some shredded red cabbage. I know a lot of nutrients in red cabbage. Like the darker your fruits and veggies, right? There's like
Yep.
really powerful nutrients in those.
Very good. Um, so I think all of these ingredients are going to be they're anti-inflammatory. That's one. They're anti-cancer compounds too. So kale and red cabbage are good anti-cancer veggies. So you're calming down the inflammation. You're feeding the fiber to your gut bacteria. They're producing um, serotonin because you're getting all the inflammation down and getting rid of all the bad bacteria, and it's causing a calming messaging to your brain. Um,
Mhm.
Traveling along that vagus nerve. So anytime you can feed your body some calming foods, anti-inflammatory foods, the better. Because there's even stress itself causes causes inflammation. Just thinking stressful thoughts and being
Mhm.
in stressful situations. So when you eat foods like this, it calms your gut.
That's good, which can then have that like ripple effect. So if you're feeling already stressed out, if
Mhm.
you have something calming, it can help turn down the
Yep,
volume on
absolutely.
that stress. So yeah, I made some quinoa here. I like the tricolor quinoa because it's colorful.
Mm.
I like things that are vibrant and colorful and look pretty. So I put a bed of kale down in my bowl, and I'm putting some quinoa on there.
Mm.
I like to get the like the low sodium chickpeas.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can make them easy enough to dry, and sometimes I do make dry beans, but again, convenient, grab and go. I'm very mindful about my sodium, so wherever I can reduce it, I definitely try to reduce it. So I'm just gonna pour some chickpeas on there.
Yum.
Then I roasted cauliflower with some coconut aminos, nutritional yeast, onion powder, and garlic powder. Put it on parchment paper, oil-free roasting. And so you don't need to roast your vegetables in oil. You need
No.
some kind of cooking liquid. So I usually like you can take like a vegetable broth or I like to use coconut aminos because it gives it a little bit of flavor. And then I don't need to add any salt because there's like a little bit in there already. And it has a little sweetness in it too. The
Mhm.
coconut aminos. So it adds like a nice flavor. And then nutritional yeast is a common vegan
Yeah. It's a powerhouse.
It's a powerhouse. Yeah. So I like it. It adds nice flavor. And then I took some edamame and I sauteed it also with a little coconut aminos and some, I get the jarred garlic because I don't have time or the motivate. Like I love fresh garlic,
Yeah.
but it's such a pain and then your hands smell like it. So I always get the jar of crushed garlic to make my life easier. So
Yeah.
I
That's great.
so I put some of that there
And all
on
those
there.
things like that's a good trip. That's got like 25% tryptophan in it, soybeans,
Mm. And it's
cauliflower.
protein, right? It's extra protein.
And the quinoa is actually a seed. It's not even a grain. And it's like it's one of the powerhouse protein sources that you can put in your like we
And
actually make
there's
our rice with our quinoa. And
and there's good fiber and all that too.
oh my gosh, tons of fiber.
And so
Ooh, look at
there's
that.
my bowl. I should have had you take a picture of your bowl before
Oh,
we ate it.
darn. I
But you
ate
know
it
what? I'll
already.
take a screenshot later.
Mm.
Um, and then I made a maple mustard
Ooh,
dressing that I make with tahini. So it's 2 tablespoons of tahini with a tablespoon of maple syrup and a teaspoon of mustard. So I use some spicy brown
oh,
mustard.
yeah.
And then I add a little bit of water just to make it thin. And this is it's like a vegan honey Dijon dressing kind,
Yeah.
like honey mustard kind of. But
Delicious.
it's my maple mustard dressing that I
I
make. And then
love
you
it.
just drizzle that on top. And then you have this nice
Oh,
colorful
wow. I wish I was
bowl.
over there right now so I could have my lunch.
I know we could have traded, right? We
That's
could
a
have
bummer.
shared.
I don't know if I like this. I want to be there so I can benefit from it.
Well, maybe another
Wow.
time we can hang out and cook in person. We're like an
Yeah.
hour and a half apart. So
Yeah, that would be fun.
I
I
would
don't mind.
love to. I'm going to take a picture of this just to
I
put
did
on
take a
social.
picture of my bowl, so I can send it to you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. That would be great. Yeah, because then it'll help me later with it. Hang on one second. I'm just going to take a picture over here. Okay, so now I'm going to taste it. Get a fork.
Yeah, this is the moment of truth.
Yes, the moment of truth. I'm going to take a piece with the cauliflower on it. Mm.
Mm,
Um,
I could taste it from here.
and you can make, you know, you can have because what we're really attracted to and what we eat is the flavor
Yep.
and the textures, right? So spices and dressings, like you can make a healthier version of like a green goddess dressing, for example, right? The traditional kind has oil in it. You can make it without the oil
Oh, yeah.
and just use, the fresh herbs, the fresh ingredients with it. You're getting the same tasty flavors, but you're just replacing it with better for you ingredients, right? That's one of the things that really attracted me to whole food plant-based eating was that I discovered a world where I could eat healthy without feeling deprived. I want cookies. Okay, I can make a cookie with better
Mhm.
ingredients. It still tastes like a cookie.
Right.
It's telling my brain I'm eating a cookie. It's just
Mhm.
a cookie that's fueling my body with something better for it. So
Right.
forks over knives was like that gateway for me
Yeah.
into eating better. And then eventually I pivoted, then I went down the road towards veganism and embracing that
Mhm.
um, for ethical reasons. And so, yeah, I think, your food looks great. I want to ask you a little bit about the work you do with the Capital Region Vegan Network, which is in Albany, New
Mhm.
York. I've been to some amazing events there, and I would go to many more if I lived closer, but
It's okay.
I know, like I mentioned before, you did a cooking event in your home. You made ravioli. So can you share with my viewers a little bit more about the Capital Region Vegan Network and the types of work that you do?
Okay. So I'm on the board. I joined the board a couple of years ago, and it's a wonderful group of people that, give a lot of their time and energy to furthering the mission of the Capital Region Vegan Network, which is really to promote veganism to as many people as possible and really to help people understand what it's all about. And so you can become a vegan for many different reasons. You can become a vegan for health, which I think you and I started out as doing. And then you can be a vegan for animal welfare, for the environment, or for all three, or for all two, or for one. So
Hmm.
there's many different ways that you can be a vegan. And so we look at all the different avenues and we address. So we have classes for healthy eating and how to prepare foods in a healthy way and to really think about improving your health and welfare. And then we also have visits to sanctuaries. We do drives for, donations to help the local sanctuaries preserve animals and take them out of harmful situations, and we create that awareness. And then we also do food drives we did that this past fall and winter. We're doing food drives to help people that don't have food. And so we're giving them vegan food, healthy food, not
Hmm.
necessarily giving them boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese, but actual canned vegetables and other kinds of foods that aren't highly processed. So to help, because that's the worst thing to do is that you're down on your luck and you don't have money to buy food. And now people are giving you processed food, which
Yeah.
makes your health go down too. So we're trying to bump that up. We do events, educational events, where we do cooking classes throughout the region. We do grocery tours. We show people the right way, how to interpret labels on products and how to choose. We don't do anything political. We just keep it to the basics where we're just promoting better living for everybody in the world, basically. Peace, love, and joy. That's what we're all about. So we've conducted, you can become a member, $25 a year, very low. You get discounts to all the local vegan places. We have a lot of different partners in the community, which is great. We put on two big events, Veg Out, Veg Fest, every year, and we introduce people to vegan cuisine and just show them that it's not so weird or harmful, that it can actually be a lot of fun. And our cooking classes have really taken off, and they're you as a member, you get a discount, and they're not expensive at all. I think it was $20 to come to the ravioli. We provide everything, and we feed you. We all sat down and had this amazing meal in my home, and then we go to different places and do the different classes. So I really enjoy being part of the group, and we're just trying to keep reaching out. We have a lot of volunteers that come in and do different things. Um, and I like using my expertise to help with their mission. So that's what's very beneficial to me. Um, I do have a 7-day serotonin reset plan. So basically, what it is a 7-day diet with all the recipes and menu plan for 7 days to kind of reset your serotonin levels
Mm.
and to see how you feel after you do that. And it's free. You just got to email me and I will send it to you. And then I have a bunch of classes for mental health, mental illness, mental welfare, however you want to put it. Um, Gut brain superpower, nutrition for focus, calm, and clarity. It's a mini course. It's $10. And you just get everything in that. It's amazing. And then feeding your inner garden. If you want to explore probiotic and prebiotics more, like what is it? How do I get more in it? What do they do for me? And how it's related to gut health. I have a class on that. That's $10. And then I have
Oh, wow,
nutrition
nice.
nutrition for the neurodivergent brain, empowering neurodivergent wellness through food series. And it's a 3-part class, and that's $27. So you can put my email address in the notes if you want, and just to get in touch with me, or look up Capital Region Vegan Network and see what the good work that they do, because they do some amazing things. Um, there's so many things about what we did today that it's great to take a little deeper dive into that. But I think we've covered some really great um, things today to open people's mind and get them to start exploring and finding a little bit more how they can improve their gut health.
I love all of that. Patricia, also known as Dr. T, thank you for hanging out with me today and cooking and sharing your insight and knowledge on how we can take better care of our health. And it doesn't have to be boring, it can be fun and delicious and colorful. That smoothie looks so good.
So does the bowl. I need to
Smoothie
meet
bowl,
you.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna
I
drive. I'm
forgot to
gonna
keep.
drive. I'll drive halfway and meet you so you can give me the ball. I'll give you the
Yeah,
smoothie.
we'll just trade it. Yes, yes, we'll trade bowls. I got the Buddha bowl, you got the smoothie
I got the
bowl.
smoothie bowl. We're just halfway done. I've been eating it while we were
I know
talking.
I've been like picking. I had lunch beforehand. I'm like picking at the, you forget how good roasted cauliflower is if you haven't
Oh
made it
my
in a
gosh.
while. And then you're like, oh my God, I just want roasted cauliflower right now.
It is so delicious. And I love how you use mustard too as part of the flavoring because, mustard is such a great product, a great source for flavor because you can use
Hmm.
all different kinds of mustard to really change up the taste
Yeah.
the taste
Taste
barometer.
profile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
profile. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So, using simple products to make something really delicious. So, um,
Yeah.
roasted
Absolutely.
cauliflower.
Well, excuse me, a crumb of cauliflower just went down my throat. Well, this was really wonderful having you here.
Yeah.
If you ever want to come back and cook with me,
Yep.
would love
I
to
would love
have
to.
you back. This was
Yep.
fun. And yeah, please go check out Patricia. Do you have a website too, right?
Yeah, I have a website too.
And yeah, so I'll include your website, your email. I'll also include information on the Capital Region Vegan Network. They're wonderful. I went to a potluck event earlier this year and had so much fun. And I am a member and I just love
Thank you.
everything that they're doing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's only $25 a year. So worth it.
Yeah. And it
Um,
goes to a good cause.
yeah, yeah. And I'm an hour and a half away and I try to go to, three, four things a year. They also do the Veg Out, which is a veg fest in Troy. And then
Mm,
there was the Veg Fest in Albany.
yep.
I didn't go to the Albany one this year, but I went to it last year and that was really enjoyable. And I
I
went
went
to
to
the,
an Indian cooking class in January.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
all Indian foods. So we're really looking forward to doing that. That'll be
Yeah, so
yeah.
go check that out.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. T, this was
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all real soon. Bye for now.